And Taylor, welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
We are so happy to have y'all. This is such a special treat. We know that over the last few days, it's been a little bit wild. Suppenkasper and Steffen's dressage routine has gone pretty seriously viral. Someone was watching it who I don't think they seemed like they were even an equestrian, but they just picked up on it, named it Rave Horse. It's now been viewed by tens of millions of people. And we have Taylor and Marie who are behind putting the mix and the track together. I want to play a little clip so y'all can get some background and then we will discuss.
Alex, come look at this Rave Horse.
Now, I'm probably the only electronic music producer that made a piece for the Olympic Dressage this year, but I'm going to show you guys how I made it. All right, here's the project for Steffen Peters, the rider. It's quite large. And below it, I have this video of one of his previous routines so I can sync the music as it plays along. Now, the TikTok video started on Calabria, which is in the middle of the piece, so we'll start it there. Shout out Steffen and Mopsie, you guys crushed at the Olympics.
It's so good. Everybody loves it. You really can't stop watching it. It doesn't get old. Dressage is historically known as being boring or stuffy in general. Even my father used to say he's sitting out the horse dancing or the horse ballet. He would skip it when I was doing horse trials and eventing. He definitely didn't want to be a part of it and was always very vocal about that the horse dancing was boring. So that's my personal memory of it. But this is really hopefully taking dressage into a new uber modern, uber forward, really fun place, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about how y'all got together on this project with Steffen.
Oh gosh, I definitely, I've been a rider and a professional dressage rider and trainer for some years and played piano competitively as a kid, and it just sort of took off. I ended up doing a piece for Killa Priest, who's a part of Wu-Tang, and and from there, actually, Gunther Seidel, who's also an Olympic dressage rider, very well known. He originally had me do a piano piece for his horse, Zero Gravity, or the Mashburn's horse, Zero Gravity, and all of a sudden, I had a business, a freestyle business, and it's been a dream of mine for many years that just freestyles in general should be better edited. The music choices that go together, you know, it's so easy to make a mash of songs, but you spend your whole life, 20 years trying to get into the freestyle, or you work so hard trying to make a freestyle, and then you have this terrible music. Anyways, so Steffen and knew that I had worked on some music and knew all about the intricacies of making sure that every footfall fits the beat, and he said, hey, I want to do this dance music. He was a DJ and he came with these amazing song choices. And I said, God, I don't really have any experience with this whatsoever. I'm a classical pianist. I have this dream to make freestyles awesome. And I happened to meet Taylor through my boyfriend, actually, Josh Powell, who's a farrier. Anyways, and Taylor, instantly, he got it. He has the skill to, take a song, and the edits that he can do to put two songs together and make it sound good is amazing. He's so talented. And I definitely knew that Steffen's personality and his personality would get along really great. And I said, hey, can you help me with this? And, there's so many more freestyle clients that need someone like you with this more modern music, and he was able and willing and took it to the next level for Steffen and I and the whole dressage world.
And Taylor, tell us how the tracks were selected and what Steffen's vision was, and how you settled all of that with him.
Yeah, so when Marie called me, she's like, hey, we should just sit down to talk about this. So she came up to my studio space, actually just like my living room, yeah, where I had a studio space set up. And she brought the song list that he had, and some of it was, you know, like kind of modern electronic music. The one thing that he was really strong about was starting with the Robin Schulz song featuring James Blunt, Okay, which is his song that's really important to him. It's like a tribute to his wife. And he starts in the Olympic piece. If you watch the beginning, that's the first song that you hear. And so going off the theme of that, he had some other songs that were kind of electronic, but he still needed a little help finding some music that would fit. He had like the general idea. And so I have a massive library of music. My background is DJing and producing. I've been doing it for like 10 or 12 years. And so I have like thousands and thousands of songs that could fit potentially. And I ran through probably like a couple hundred of them, trying to find stuff that would fit properly. And, you know, it goes through versions, tons of versions before the final songs are decided. But I think at one point, Steffen kind of came up with the idea of the Calabria, which is kind of a classic, like, dancey song from back in, you know, the 2000s. It's been remixed a bunch of times because that melody is so strong, which is the melody that you hear come in at the beginning of that TikTok video. And I was like, wait a minute, there are some remixes of the song that would, I think, be really crazy to put in here. And Marie's like, oh my God, I love it. Let's run it by Steffen. And that's like when you hear that really big drop happen, because she was like, we need it to be basically like the biggest moment of the whole piece. And I was like, should we just go for it? And we sent it to Steffen and he loved it. And so we kind of based that second bit of the piece based around that song, which is the part that went viral on the TikTok, obviously.
And Steffen wanted it to be like a party, right? You said?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's like, you know, his choice in music is like really fun. He loves fun, upbeat music. And I think he even said in the Yahoo interview that he wanted his music to feel like it's the same music he would play if he was having a house party later on in the night, you know? So I think we really vibed well as a team because of that, because of my background and just his vision.
And you said you even tried to get him to maybe go more uber modern, but maybe we'll see that in the next routine.
Yeah. Marie and I were pushing boundaries for sure. What do you think, Marie? What do you think?
I definitely think it took a lot of we got a lot of pushback, not from Steffen. He thought it was awesome. But honestly, even from me, I was like, oh my God, can we do this? Like, I'm a professional in this world too. I'm gonna to walk around with a bag over my head. But it's so cool. I mean, Taylor, the fact that people love that, and Steffen obviously deserves like so much credit. He had this vision, he picked those songs, and I think that Taylor's talent with picking songs that people will love, and just the fact that this is proof that people love it and it transformed dressage. Taylor has an infinite amount of more songs and more ideas that we really had to hold back from doing, just obviously for the classicalness of the Olympics itself. And I just want to say too that a very long-standing music or freestyle producer, Terry Gallo, definitely had to help with the process too in the end of making sure that it was appropriate for the Olympics, that we got all of the licensing for all of the songs done correctly, because she's been in the business for a long time and had been to the Olympics with her music and her clients many times. So
excellent. Yes, we definitely want to credit her for being part of the collaboration that put this together. And Catie's been covering the Olympics in all the equestrian phases. And Catie, you said you were just entirely entertained by the dressage this year.
I mean, I watched the freestyle live, and even still, I couldn't stop watching the TikTok video. I had to keep replaying it. And, you know, Marie, you talked about how, you know, how you really try to have every beat match the footfall. And
Yes.
it just looked like that song was written for them. It was just magnificent. And he got such tremendous scores for musicality. I mean, it was just absolutely brilliant. I think it is the best possible thing for the sport of dressage. I think throughout the entire competition, you saw more riders actually use some more modern, recognizable music outside of, you know, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. You know, it was just, which is brilliant and really great, but it was just made it more relatable and brings in a new audience. And I just found it was one of the most exciting, entertaining, you know, dressage events that I have ever had the pleasure of watching. It was just such a treat. And the entire time, I really just thought about the two of you. I didn't know the two of you and who exactly was behind this, but I thought, wow, whoever wrote this is a genius. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And can you please do this for everyone?
I mean, I think it really takes the watching it to the next level when it's really accurately placed with the freestyle and making it. I mean, this happened with Gunter's too. When I made his, you start the piece, and by the end of the season, the horse has gotten stronger and better in certain things. So the pirouettes get smaller, and therefore, you know, they take up less time. And you have to fine tune or hone this thing. We had probably, I want to say 10 or 12 different versions by the time it gets to the point where it all is working really consistently, because the horses change. And once the pattern is set, like I said, they get stronger, they get better, they go across the extended lines faster, or, you know, or in Steffen's case, actually the passage got more expressive, so then it takes more time. It actually slows it down, so we had to add some music in certain places. And I know in the very final steps too that Terry made a couple last minute changes to that too, because she was already working on it and in there too. So but you have to really, obviously the music choice is huge. And whether it has to be like a full-on rave, maybe not. But I do think that just more popular music brings a huge attraction to the sport. And then the accuracy and putting time into the freestyle. I mean, you take so long to put a dressage horse together. People need to spend more time really making the music fit the horse and the pattern fit the music, you know?
Well, as Catie said, this didn't turn off the judges. The scores were excellent, and the reaction is clearly positive. We're dealing with, you know, one of the greatest, the world's greatest in history, Steffen Peters, so he can execute for sure. But what this does for the sport, I think it's unanimous that people want more of this. People like this stuff, and to call it horse dancing and it be boring and walk away from it, or to call it horse dancing, this is the horse at the club. It's very small play on semantics, but very different, you know, outcome. And I think that we should mention also in Rio, we had Lorenzo, who was ridden by a Spanish rider to Smooth by Carlos Santana. Is it Smooth? Am I getting that wrong? Smooth. Think
Taylor.
So. Anyway, Taylor, top 40, number one.
I don't know that one.
It was Billboard's number one of, I think, the year 2000, probably something like that. Don't quote me. But everybody was just all about it. It was on late night television here, but it really brought, you know, a sport that's kind of not that accessible to a greater audience, and how much fun. And I mean, Catie was up at all hours watching this and said she was just so entertained, which is not usually the case for dressage.
I think it's really important to say too that I think the sport needed somebody like Steffen to carry this burden is the wrong word, but to carry the torch.
The torch.
People
Yeah.
would not just, oh my God, it's like so different, and be too scared of it. I mean, what better, there's no better person than Steffen, who's a beautiful rider with this magnificent horse Mopsie, to push the envelope and make it respectable and awesome. I mean,
Yes, and Catie, you
had
talked
to do
before about Steffen. If you want to talk more about him, Catie, just the way that he works with horses and the way that he speaks with them, he has the horse whisperer gift for sure. And Catie was talking about it in the prior episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Marie would know about this more than I, working with him so closely. But just from interviews and watching him, he's a tremendous rider, tremendous horseman. He's always talked about being very visual. He visualizes every aspect of a championship to prepare himself for it. He's just very intuitive, and it just translates to the horses. He is a joy to watch, a joy to interview and chat with. You just want to keep talking because he's, just so enlightening, and has such great perspective. So he is so great for the sport of dressage, and hats off to him. You kind of look at Steffen and you wouldn't picture him to be that type that would come up with that sort of playlist. He's so quiet and soft spoken, but boy is he creative. Props to him for being so modern and being up with that, because I couldn't have thought of that or picked up those music choices. So amazing for him.
Most people would be too scared to do that, but now the ice is broken. And I do think too, just the way that he dances, it's like watching an amazing dancer. They can just transcend all of it, and he carried the music perfectly, because it's a big piece of music. It's maybe harsh isn't the right word, but in comparison to dressage, it's harsh in a sense, and it's like a party, but you're really partying. And he just put the perfect amount of elegance in that. It's just like a great hip hop dancer too. They just make it amazing.
But so much art goes into dressage, and every single move that they make is art, is so artful, and takes such precision and so many hours of training. So why shouldn't it be a very, celebration style of music? And I do want to ask Taylor before we go, did you ever think that as an EDM specialist and music producer that you'd be working with equestrians?
Yeah, definitely never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that. Or I've been working behind the scenes with a bunch of the world's, I've been really lucky over the past, number of years until my personal artist project was sort of ready for the world. I've been working behind the scenes doing mix work and stuff for a bunch of the world's biggest DJs. And for this to now be right as I'm launching my artist project, and now I'm more well known almost in the horse world than I am in the electronic music world, is pretty funny. But I couldn't be happier. And also I just had a lot of fun doing this, because it was a really weird thing where my skill set just happened to be perfect for making freestyles for dressage. And so now Marie and I, we're going to keep making more of them. We had a lot of inquiries, and we're going to start, we started a whole separate page on Instagram, Rave Horse Productions, and we're going to try and help move, kick the door down and move the industry forward and make it really more accessible for the general audience.
I think one more thing, not to talk too much, but Taylor, as Steffen, is an incredible rider, right? And just gives it that last little bit. Obviously, Taylor's some generations younger, but mark my words, he has that edge to, we go back and forth, and I'll be like, is this song? And he's like, hold on a second. And you wait about 1 minute, and then he plays what he's made, and I'm like, oh my God, that's it. He just has that edge. He gets all of it, even if it's not totally Calabria. He somehow, like he just said, his skill set just fits perfectly to make it a little bit more modern, super creative, and then make really hard transitions from canter pirouette to the piaffe. He makes it work perfectly with the music editing.
Well, we can't wait to see you two elevate the entertainment value of the dressage
Yes.
competitions. Absolutely, just so much fun. And to make it that much fun is a big task, but I think y'all are well on your way to doing it. So we can't wait to see and hear more. We hope you'll let us know when you have another client that you're working with, or when Steffen's about to do another routine, and let us know how it goes. And again, your new venture is called Rave Horse Productions, right?
Yes, you'll have to check out.
As of right now, yeah.
Okay.
Buffini is doing BTS pretty soon.
Oh.
So you'll have to check that out.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank y'all so much. Thank you again, Catie, for all of your insight. We are looking forward to the final equestrian element of the Tokyo Olympic Games, which will be the team show jumping. We hope USA can bounce back in there, and we will look for a lot of great jumping this weekend. I'd like to remind everyone of our social media campaign. Be a torchbearer, make your own fantasy Olympic team. And if you follow us on Instagram and participate, you will be eligible to win a $300 prize package from Ride Bedford. So we hope everyone will follow us on Instagram, as well as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we thank y'all again. It's been such a pleasure, so much fun. Catie, see you on the next one.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.